Sumamente contento de tener un invitado internacional y muy especial, un experto en la materia de células madre, un experto con muchísima trayectoria, tanto empresarial como obviamente teórica y metodológica acerca del sector de la salud. Además tengo el gusto de tenerlo como cliente, el empresario y buen amigo Gideon Kraus. Gideon Kraus, how are you, Gideon?
Hello, I'm very well. Nice to be here. How are you?
Me da mucho gusto tenerlo acá y bueno, vamos a hablar de un tema sumamente importante, además de novedoso actualmente, que aunque se ha escuchado mucho sobre el tema que hoy vamos a platicar, que es el tema de la salud, vamos a hablar de un tema muy específico, que es las famosas células madres o stem cells, que es algo que es su área de especialidad. Pero primero, obviamente queremos conocerlo. Entonces, who is Gideon Kraus?
Hello, well, thank you for the introduction. Thank you for having me here. So, my name is Gideon. I've lived in Tijuana for 5 years. I left England, where I was born, about 20 years ago, and I moved to Southeast Asia. I was involved in various businesses, and then about 12 years ago, I became interested in international healthcare and what was happening in terms of new breakthroughs, scientific breakthroughs, partly for my own interest and my own health, but also from a business point of view. And I was lucky enough to find a partner who was an early pioneer in the stem cell business. I was living in Singapore at the time.
How many years?
I was in Singapore for 12 years.
Wow.
And in the last 2 years, I entered the healthcare business, and then I moved to Thailand to run a business that my partner had bought called Global Stem Cells. So that was in 2013. Yeah.
¿Y qué fue lo que te llevó o por qué te gusta o por qué te orientaste por el tema de la salud, particularmente en el tema estético? ¿Cuál fue ese... ¿Qué te motivó? ¿Qué te orilló? ¿El tamaño del negocio? Porque digo, hablar de Londres, Singapur, Tailandia, debe haber sido un viaje interesante, pero ¿cuál fue esa pasión que te llevó a ese negocio tan complejo y tan de especialidad?
I was looking for a change of career, and I perceived that the trend towards personal health, especially via the growth in the internet at that time, made it much more interesting for individuals to take charge of their health and be involved in their own healthcare, as opposed to the traditional model for the last 100 years, which is go to the doctor, listen to the doctor, go home, take your medicine, and that's really just about it. If you look at the California trend, which started probably 30 or 40 years ago, really that didn't go very far until the internet took all of the information and made it available. And so I was interested in health myself, and I wanted to combine the two and combine the businesses. In terms of stem cells themselves, it's the same way that you don't know about them until you do know about them. So everyone who's listening now who doesn't know about stem cells will, by the end of our conversation, I hope, know something about stem cells. And the same thing happened to me. It just happened 10 years ago, and my friend said, this is pretty amazing. The medical science has advanced, and the understanding of how the body works and why we age, why we repair, how the whole system of aging is processed in the body. Basically, the code has been cracked.
Okay.
And I said, well, what do you mean? And he said, well, for example, do you have any sporting injuries? I used to do a lot of sports, and I said, yeah, of course I do. Everyone who does sports has injuries. He said, what's wrong with you? I said, well, I tore part of my shoulder rotator cuff. I had an operation 3 years ago, and it's reasonably successful, but I still can't throw a football or a cricket ball aggressively, and I have to be a bit careful. And he said, okay, well, you can inject stem cells directly into your shoulder and heal it. And I said, well, wow. I don't believe you. And he said, and he said, well, let's try it. And I said, okay. So we tried it, and it worked. And I'm like, this is amazing. And that's how I entered the business.
So how did you get involved with stem cells? Because your injury, or how did you get involved?
Well, first he did. I did the procedure.
Okay.
I flew to Bangkok, and I went to the business that my friend had just bought, and they treated the shoulder, and within 3 weeks it was good, and within a month it was like completely healed. And I said, great, I'm in the business. So 2 weeks later, I moved to Bangkok, and I started running that business for him. He was a friend. We'd known him for a while. We'd done some other business together. And that's where it started. And that business was treating joints and also chronic illness, people with liver, lung, heart, basically organ problems. And so that's how that started.
Ok. En comparación a, obviamente digo, tengo mucho tiempo escuchando sobre el tema de células madre. ¿En qué punto o momento tú considerarías que se encuentra en México? Porque yo pudiera pensar que México está en pañales si se tratara de células madre. ¿Dónde se encuentra México actualmente en ese tema?
Well, it's very interesting because at exactly the same time where Thailand and South Korea were doing a lot of research and making available the treatments for stem cells, the same thing happened in Mexico. And so the Mexico Stem Cell Association was founded about 10 years ago, 11 years ago, just around the same time, using very similar technology. And through the actions of a few pioneering doctors who traveled around the world, who bought technology, who took financial risk, invested in the processing, and invested in keeping track of the advances as they were happening. A very similar thing was actually happening in Mexico, without my knowledge. And when I was looking to leave Southeast Asia, leave Thailand, after about 5 years, ready to make a dedicated business for myself, then I looked at the various places around the world that were offering stem cells. One is Panama, where nothing happens. The other is the Ukraine, which was very strong, unfortunately no longer.
Okay.
And really the other remaining country where stem cells were in regular commercialized use for daily treatment of healthcare conditions was Mexico.
Okay. So, well, my next question, because I know you have a clinic, is what made you open a clinic in Mexico? Why Mexico if you have a lot of experience in other countries? Why Mexico? What made you open a clinic in Mexico?
So my experience in Thailand was medical tourism.
Okay.
And medical tourism is a concept where, for a variety of reasons, people from one country will go to another country for medical treatment. Sometimes, and very frequently, that's cost advantage.
Okay.
Sometimes it's the availability of very advanced treatments that haven't been developed in the patient's own country. And sometimes it's to do with regulations and availability. So different countries move at different paces. And so the choice of countries where there is business, where people who can afford to pay for these advanced treatments are close enough and are willing to travel. And Tijuana in particular has been a medical tourism hub for 10 years and going in a very strong direction. And so 5 years ago, it was clear that the business to offer to the North American across the border patients to travel over, the best place to do that was Tijuana. It actually turns out that in the last 5 years, the cost of the treatments has come down greatly, and the average wealth and disposable income and interest in personal health care of the Mexican, or at least the Baja population has increased. So although when we opened, we were planning only to target medical tourism from the US, we now see quite a significant proportion of our customers come from Mexico for those two reasons: the increasing income and the decreasing price of the stem cells. For example, when I had my shoulder done, it was $13,000. we now do exactly the same thing for $2,500, exactly the same treatment. In
Wow.
fact, slightly better.
Wow. Este podcast está orientado a emprendedores y a empresarios. La idea es educarlos y de muchas formas hablar de la parte compleja de llevar un negocio, de hacerlo crecer, etcétera. Y algo que me llama mucho la atención de ti, y lo comento porque muchas veces los mismos emprendedores locales dicen, es difícil en México, es difícil en Tijuana, y lo que me llama la atención de alguien con tu experiencia, con tu conocimiento, es que tú sí viste la oportunidad en México, tú sí viste la oportunidad en Tijuana, y ahorita explicaste varios factores. Eso es importante porque a veces la oportunidad no se busca, se genera, se crea. Y creo que es algo que en este caso la perseverancia y la experiencia de tu caso lo ha llegado, ¿no? El tema de células madre, que es un tema hasta cierto punto todavía controversial aquí en México, que ahorita vamos a hablar un poquito de eso, es algo en lo que Evolve, que es tu clínica, es pionera. Entonces, háblame un poco acerca de Evolve.
So, one thing that I didn't mention when you asked about Mexico is Mexico is the first, let's call it, major country to legalize and regulate the use of stem cells for the general public. So, Coffee Priest, the health regulator in the US called the FDA, have a special category of license for regenerative medicine. And so that means that everything we do is controlled by the government. We have to report, and it also means that the patients have quite a degree of confidence that what we're doing is safe and also effective. And that was a major reason for me being willing to open the business. It's also very comforting for people to hear that the services are regulated, and so Evolve itself is uses that license as an underpinning of the quality and the commitment to safe and effective services. So the actual story of Evolve is one of a coincidence in that there was a very famous local plastic surgeon who we knew, and he approached us and said, "I'm looking to retire. Are you interested in taking over my whole practice and my building?" He had a very large premises, almost 16,000 square feet, which is about 1,500 square meters.
Wow.
Where he operated his plastic surgery business, a spa with 12 rooms. He had 3 hyperbaric chambers, a full recovery suite with overnight bedrooms, so the surgery patients should recover. And he was interested in stem cells, and I'll get to the use and the story of that and how those stem cells can be used in different areas. Of course, he was a plastic surgeon, so his interest was in beauty, and we already had a lot of that experience in my previous business in Thailand. We had a very high quality clinic, so we had a lot of experience operating first class 5-star premises. And so we ended up doing a deal, and we essentially took over his business. And then we changed the name to Evolve by Verita. Verita is the name of the company in Singapore and Thailand
Wow.
that I'm involved with, and they're the experts in stem cells. Unfortunately, he passed away at the beginning of the year, and so we brought in different surgeons, and we now have many fantastic surgeons doing traditional plastic surgery. But Evolve itself is about the future of medicine. It's about aesthetics and how you look. It's about the convergence of aesthetics with wellness and the convergence of wellness with longevity. We're all living longer, we're all living stronger, and the responsibility that individuals are starting to take for themselves to combine those three are what Evolve stand for, where we can offer very latest breakthrough technologies, safely commercialized. Yes, we charge, but everything we do is proven, everything has studies, everything has references, and Evolve is about the convergence of the different medical technologies that just weren't available 25 years ago. 25 years ago, it was just there was just almost nothing that you could do. You could take some vitamins, you could watch your diet, and you could go under the knife and have a facelift. But everything has changed, and our doctors, our expertise, we have 5 or 6 really highly qualified doctors in different areas. We're about combining those different ideas into something that can be packaged and offered at a reasonable price.
So actually, you can say Evolve by Verita is one of the best options right now for wellness.
There's no one who does anything significantly better than we do. So
Wow.
we're at the top of what is available for reasonable price. I'll give you an example of what we don't do. If you have a problem with your heart, then you can go to 2 or 3 different places.
Okay.
And you can have stem cells directly injected into your heart, and that'll cost you $150,000.
Wow.
And these are operations that have done. We personally know of a clinic that has done 50
Okay.
of them.
Okay.
We don't do that level of sophistication. So if I were to say we're the best at the easy and safe and low risk processes for beauty, which is aesthetics,
Okay.
face and hands,
Okay.
for anti-aging,
Plastic
which is
surgery.
that's plastic surgery, anti-aging, so that's intravenous injection of stem cells and other related products just to make you feel and look younger. Health reasons, if you have problems with an organ, liver, lung, heart, then you can put stem cells into your veins. Just through an injection, just takes 30 minutes, and you can expect a significant improvement. If you're on medication, you can hope to get off medication, and also joints. So if anyone who has injuries or degradation above the age of 30, as I had with my shoulder, then stem cells are extremely effective for that.
Actually, I have a very good experience with the IVs.
Oh yeah.
A month ago, and it's amazing. We can talk about the IVs. Also, Evolve by Verita have an amazing spa. Give me the tour. I like, wow, this is amazing. So, let's talk about one of the best miracles about medicine, stem cells. So, what can stem cells do, and how do they work?
Yeah, so it's really incredible that we, the human race, have managed to understand how the human body works. It's just really incredible in so many different areas. And there are 3 real breakthroughs in medicine in the last 30 years that will guide humanity for this century. One is the genome, the cracking of the human genome and understanding how genetics and DNA and the passing on of diseases works. The second is immunotherapy, which is understanding how the immune system works.
Okay.
And how it attacks and deals with everything around it and keeps the body alive. And the third is stem cells, which is how cells grow, divide, and differentiate. What does that mean? When an egg is fertilized, there's just 2 cells. There's nothing, and then they split and split and split and split, and then eventually you have ears and noses and eyes and hearts and liver and lung and muscle tissue and bone.
Improve?
It's not improvement; it's a differentiation. Those cells from when an egg is fertilized through to when a baby is born, there's a process, and the stem cells guide that process of of multiplication, i.e. there's not very many of them and then there's a whole baby. And they also guide what the different body parts are.
Okay.
So if you look at very early in the progression of the growth of a baby, then a heart cell and a liver cell are the same. And then miraculously some of the cells become heart cells and some of the cells become liver cells. And the heart cells split and make a heart, and the liver cells split and make a liver, and then the bone cells come along. And so stem cells, they differentiate into the different types of cells in the body over the course of the gestation period of a baby, but also after the baby is born, we're not fully mature. You know, some animals are, some primates even, are pretty mature when they're born. We're not. We're not mature till we're 13, 14, 15. So that whole process is guided by stem cells, and the stem cells are used in the instructing the cells what to do, and they also divide and they increase and they multiply. And so when you ask what do stem cells do, they tell the body what to do, and then they help it make those individual different parts of your body.
For example, so stem cells works different. For example, if I use stem cells and my mother used stem cells, well, we have different kind of disease. So stem cells is going to act in my disease?
Well, let's get to that, because at the moment I'm explaining, we will get to that. At the moment I'm explaining what the stem cell role is in the body.
Okay.
Then as you get older, the number of stem cells decreases dramatically. And the older you get, the harder it is for your body to repair itself.
In what age?
They start going down from about the age of 2. And when you're 12, from the age of 2, you have, let's say, 1 billion stem cells per cubic. Cubic liter of flesh.
Okay.
And that would decrease approximately 50% every 5 to 10 years. So by the time you're 60, you have 2 or 3% of the number of stem cells in your body that you did when you were a child. It's exactly why if you're 10 years old and you break a bone, it heals like that. If you're 50 years old and you break a bone, it may not heal at all. And the exact reason, biological, metabolism, molecular reason is you don't have enough stem cells.
Wow.
Or the stem cells in your body can't get there and do the work and instruct. So as you get older, if you're lucky, then you're healthy until you're 30, 40, 50. You don't have any problems. If you're a bit less lucky, then you may be on medication for a heart problem, for a liver problem. Even teenagers or children can have these problems. As you get older and older, the problems start to increase.
Okay.
The use of stem cells is to say, okay, well, your stem cells are going down, but through the technologies that have been mastered, here's some more stem cells. Let's give you new stem cells. And that's what the treatments are. Those stem cells can be administered in a few different ways. It can go into your bloodstream, in which case it just goes around the body. I'll explain what it does. Or it can be injected directly into a joint.
Okay.
Or in the case of what we do in the clinic, especially for those over the age of 35, where their skin is starting to deteriorate, you can inject stem cells directly into the face.
And that's the service of Evolve, right?
That's one of the things that we do. That's one of the main things that we do.
But,
and it's a very celebrity started thing that was 10, 15 years ago, but now we charge less than $2,000 and your skin will regenerate and it turns the clock back 10 years, collagen, elasticin. So the use of stem cells is split into 3 areas. 1 is beauty, 2 is anti-aging and longevity, and 3 is chronic disease. They're the areas.
Actually, the first time I hear about stem cells was maybe 12 years ago with celebrities. Actually, with The Rock, I hear he used it's not like a cream with stem cells. But in that moment, I think that sounds like a lie, But now I know it's a very advanced medicine, talking about aesthetics, right? So what kind of use of the stem cells are involved?
So look, we're an aesthetics clinic.
Okay.
First, and so it's beauty. It's repairing skin. It's
Specific beauty.
beauty, and it's very good for hands.
Okay.
Women tend to be concerned about their hands after the age of about 40. They
Okay.
tend to hollow out. They lose volume. The wrinkles, spots. Stem cells are incredible for that. We put stem cells into a 60-year-old woman, and her hands look like she's 40. The same for the face. Usually expecting around 10 years. We also have a full-time doctor who's a medical doctor who doesn't deal with beauty at all, and he deals with health issues and longevity and anti-aging. So that's another main area of what we use the stem cells for. That would be a 45-minute IV drip, stem cells and exosomes most likely, which is a kind of a stem cell. It's a bit medically complicated, but that is an anti-aging elixir. So everyone who is in the business will take stem cells IV once a year. And I mean, I've been taking them for 7 or 8 years. Every year I take it. During COVID, I took every 6 months. I never had symptoms. Stem cells are very effective in the treatment of COVID. 80% cure rate with stem cells.
That's amazing.
Yeah, there was a study done in Mexico City, actually by my partner, where they did I think 200 people paid for by the Mexican government. But in the end, it didn't become commercialized,
Okay.
but the study was done.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to do a very specific and important question. And how people can decide if stem cells it's a good option?
Well, from an age point of view,
Okay.
if you're not on medication,
Okay.
if you're unfortunate and you're under the age of 35, 38, and you're on medication for any kind of illness, then it's very likely that stem cells could be suitable for improving your health. Our doctors offer a free consultation, and they should approach us for that. Over the age of 35, 37, 38, then it's a good idea to start having stem cells just intravenously for general health. You will feel better. We have all sorts of range of improvements. For example, eyesight may improve if you're already deteriorating. Energy, mental acuity,
Okay.
sexual function can increase very significantly. And it's just also a preventative move. For those concerned about their appearance, then facial stem cells are very strong for any kind of wrinkles or deterioration, even sunspots and other things, where you in some way feel that your appearance has deteriorated with age. Stem cells control aging. Anything in the body that is a sign of aging, there is a good opportunity, depending on how the stem cells are given or how they're administered, where that sign of aging can be addressed. And if you get in early enough, then the goal is to maintain yourself in a good enough state, so as technologies advance, then you're healthy and strong and you can take advantage of that. So if you think about stem cells as any aspect where you feel as though you're aging and it's a bit disappointing and you're like, oh, I wasn't expecting that, that helps with stem cells. It helps with hair restoration. Obviously, I haven't used them for hair restoration, but very, very effective.
Okay.
2-3 rounds of stem cells and growth factors, and you can expect really a significant improvement. And for the face and beauty we talked about, intravenous, anti-aging, it is the biohacking solution. So an individual for themselves, if they're feeling that they're not looking as good as they did, they could consider stem cells. If they're feeling they're not as healthy or as strong as they were used to be, then they consider stem cells. And don't forget your parents. Don't forget your grandparents. I can say hand on heart, if you're over 55 years of age, you should have stem cells for your health generally every year, and in 10 years' time, you can come back to me and you can say, "Wow,
thank you, Gideon."
It's everywhere. No, everyone will be doing it. It will be mainstream. It will be approved. It will be given by governments. Employers will give their employees stem cells to keep them healthy. That's where it's going.
Y por ejemplo, en este caso, hablando específicamente de cómo funciona el procedimiento de valoración en Evolve, ¿cómo funciona para alguien que quisiera saber qué puede mejorar o que quisiera tratar de atender alguna cuestión estética o de salud menor? ¿Cuál sería el procedimiento en Evolve by Verita?
So we have an excellent patient services team, and we have a team of very experienced doctors. So just give us a call, and we'll be able to talk you through what the options are, what the pricing is, and we offer a free consultation. The truth is that if you're over the age of 40, there's something that stem cells can be done for you, and even though the cost is, it's not prohibitive, it's fair. We'd also be able to offer some special deal for listeners to your show.
Thank you so much.
The tank. So if they mention that they saw me on the tank, then we would be able to offer them an upgrade, which means exosomes, which we normally charge $350 for. The exosomes are the messengers that deliver the signals from the stem cells. And if you add those in, the treatment is more effective. And we normally do charge for that. And so we'd be able to offer that if anyone mentions it.
Actually, we have a surprise because Evolve by Verita have an amazing spa. So, for example, if somebody go to Evolve by Verita and say, I saw you in Desde el Tanque, I don't know, maybe we can give her a massage.
A massage? Okay, we can do that, but I have to limit that. I have to limit that. We can do
5?
We can do 10.
Oh my God!
We can do 10.
Double.
We can do 10 per month.
Okay. So, ya escucharon, las primeras 10 personas que al ver este capítulo pregunten o digan, yo los vi en Desde el Tanque, van a tener un masaje en uno de los spas más sofisticados y bonitos de Tijuana. So,
in addition, if they do make a stem cell purchase, which we will introduce and we'll show how it all works, we have videos, we explain how everything works. If anyone makes a purchase, then we'll be able to offer the exosome upgrade for no charge.
Excellent. And this is important. Where is Evolve by Verita?
It's in the middle of Tijuana in Plaza Financiera.
Okay.
Just one block from the Plaza Rio.
Okay.
So it's the biggest building right in the middle. It's between the banks, and we're on the ground floor. We have dedicated parking outside, so we have our own spaces. Look for the Evolve by Verita signs, and we also stamp parking, so there's no charge for parking either.
Oh, thank you so much, Gideon. You want to say something else to close this very interesting show?
Well, thank you very much for having me on there. I always appreciate the opportunity to spread the word. It is a little bit of a mission. I've been on it for 10 years,
Amazing.
It is becoming in the mainstream. I did want to mention if anyone is looking for some celebrity endorsements, if they do Google stem cells and celebrities, they'll find Anthony Robbins, they'll find Mel Gibson, they'll find NFL players, NBA stars. We personally treated Kobe Bryant before he passed, and Google will let you know that this is a very, very successful and now becoming mainstream treatment.
Oh my, okay. Gideon, thank you so much. Gracias a todos por habernos escuchado en este programa, en una nueva emisión más desde el tanque. Nos vemos la próxima. Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias.
Gideon.